Welcome back to the Scenery Farm. This is these are some drawings I made for that riser that I showed in the previous video. It's a plan and section. This is an older Mac I'm running on, so pardon the slowness. And yeah, so in the plan you can see the framing. The hidden lines show the framing of the three frames underneath, and this is an elevation, the front of the three risers coming together. You can see that the side pieces here run the full length, front to back on the frame, and this is what it looks like when compressed. Now, a different riser system was the parallel system that I showed in the preceding video, and I was talking about them being hinged in the middle, and this is essentially what I'm talking about here. This is the framework when all of the frames are together, and I can then put this, and when I pull it apart, it looks like this, and meaning when I separate the long ends, and these then become straight lines, and then this is the underside of the top of the riser, with these being locator blocks here, and then these being the rotolocks or coffin locks, as I've sort of been brought up to call them, and there's on 2-foot centers from the edge, so it doesn't really matter, just much like when you put Wenger decks together. And then when compressed, this is what it looks like. It's only 8 feet long. This is 3 inches wide, plus the hinges. And just in terms of measurements, I build stuff. Sometimes I build stuff in metric, sometimes I build stuff in imperial, and you can see in this drawing here I have both. And I'm comfortable in both. It doesn't really matter to me which I use. I'm not really going to get into the argument about which is better. I chose to do it in metric, the build, simply because it was 18 mil plywood. It wasn't full 3/4 inch plywood. So if the material I'm using is metric, I typically go to metric. Again, for me, it doesn't really matter. And if I go to my design layer here, you can actually see this is the deck here, and I have everything selected. And so these are the deck pieces, and these are the frame pieces, and this is the frame when it's compressed, just to give an indication to the client of what it looks like when it's compressed. If I wanted to turn some of this stuff off, this is me looking at the framing, and the center frame, for whatever reason I drew it without a fill, so oops, but whatever. You can see that these pieces here are long, they go there. I didn't show the notches that I've eventually put into the framing, because the hinges, if I go to a better view, for you to see this, the hinge point when here actually has to be right at this corner, and the hinge point for this corner has to be 18 mil or 3/4 inch, whichever language you speak, in from here. And obviously I didn't show the thickness of the hinge when doing this. I just did some pivoting on these pieces. But it basically means that one of the flaps on the back flap is here, and one of the backs on the back flap is here. And I toyed with the idea of just shortening this piece, but I landed on just notching out. You'll see what I mean by that when you actually get to my video. The upcoming videos that show how to make it. At any rate, this is the drawing. This is the this was my goal when doing this, making these risers. I made them out of 18 mil Baltic birch, which off the top of my head I don't know the metric outside dimensions, but they were 5 foot by 5 foot, 60 inches square. And yeah. that's what I did do, and I'll see you in a future video when I show you how to cut the different pieces.